Mm.
All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 500th episode of the TimingResearch.com Crowd Forecast News. Uh, Today is October 27th, 2025, and we are recording this at 4 p.m. Eastern. My name is David Cosmeter. I'm the creator of Timing Research. I started this, a little over 11 years ago now. So here we are at the 500th episode. And for today's panel, I have arranged for Michael Filighera and Wally Olopade and Harry Boxer to join us. And Jim, the option professor, is here to moderate. So I'm going to turn it over to him.
Okay, well, welcome to the 500th episode, guys. We have got quite a show here today because we also have a tremendous melt up going on. The S&P 500 future has cracked the 6,900 level. And so we got a lot to talk about, and we got three great guests here because we have Michael Filighera, who's going to help us with Fibonacci and Elliott, I hope. And then Wally is going to be discussing how he can find things that are on sale and get good entry levels. And Harry's going to show us how you follow momentum, and you can make some good money by following momentum. So we got three different ways to look at stuff, and we got a lot to look at. Let's go with the S&P to start out with. Big day, 80, 90 points up on the day. Clearly melting to the upside. The VIX has collapsed from 29 last week or so down to 15 handle today. And of course, that gives the green light to institutions and to family offices to come on in. The water's fine. So let's talk first with Wally. Wally, obviously, it's not that easy finding stocks on sale here. Give us some examples of what do you think of this S&P and what markets or what stocks are you seeing that might be on sale?
Very good. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody, and congratulations, David. 500 episode. Um,
Thank you.
yeah. So the market doing really great. We had a pullback back in October when the market had dropped, and that one Friday when we had a huge drop. And one of the big things was that it dropped to that 50 simple moving average, or the 50 EMA that you see over there on the chart, which is a very clear sign that, things are low enough. Most cases, we'll probably see a drop like that take about a 2 to 3 week period, but it did it all in one day. And then it kind of got itself together, and then now it's taken off. I don't believe that the market is going to pull back for the rest of the year. I mean, we might have slight down days here and there, but no major pullbacks because we are now approaching that seasonal time of the year, the holiday season, where the market tends to kind of do well. So if you were ever thinking about, hey, trying to catch the market in October, we've heard that infamous October bottom, October bottom. We've already got it. We've already got it. And unless something major comes out that is beyond our control, the way this market is set up is for it to rally to the end of the year. So that's what I'm looking for. But when you ask about what are some areas where you can find some good trades,
Yeah, because
financials,
not all sectors are going through the roof, so there must be some that we might be able to take a look at that isn't so frothy.
absolutely, financials, banks, JP
Yeah,
Morgan, yeah,
yeah,
JP Morgan is definitely one that we're trying to grab up right now. Just this is what I look for. You can see that they pulled back
yeah.
um, from October. Earnings is already over, so you don't have to worry
Hmm.
about earnings anymore.
Hmm.
And one of the strategies we teach is about how you can tell which stocks do well after they report their earnings. And one of the best things is to find companies that report good earnings, meaning that they beat the earnings estimate. They beat the earnings estimate and the stock still goes down. Those are by far one of our best type of trades that we look for because what ends up happening is you give it about a week or two and then just watch. Then they hit the bottom within a week or two and then after that, they start heading up. So financials are huge on our list right now. We are gobbling up financials as we speak. And so JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, Citigroup, any one of those are right up our alley right now. And
Yeah,
so
why don't we look at
that's,
Citigroup? I've got a position going in that one on the dip, and that looked like it wanted to go. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
thought that was worth a bite, you know?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And the way I see this, all-time highs. So for those who might trade options, the only issue is I don't know how long it's going to take to reach all-time highs, but definitely before the end of this year. And so when it comes to options, I'm not the best at options, but I can, from a technical analysis point of view, this tells me that it's going to new all-time highs
Yeah.
before the end of December. So that's
Can we put the symbol C up there? Because we have the wrong symbol
Mhm.
up there. Just C. There you go.
Yeah.
Same idea.
Yeah, same idea, same idea. So yeah, financials are definitely the area that we're looking into. And then I have a couple others like Open Door or Marvel Technologies, which are
Well,
more the
what about one
technology
more
sector.
before we leave the banks?
Sure.
What about TFC, Truist? Because that's a regional, and some people think the regionals might have value down here.
Let's take a look at it. Yeah, definitely.
If you
Definitely
want to
has
show
that.
your charts at any point too, just let
Oh,
me
no,
know.
no, no.
Yeah,
That's
sure.
perfect. That's perfect. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you can see. So one of the cool things about this is, earnings came out. I mean, we're already done with earnings, so you can see the aftermath of earnings. The
Hmm.
stock dropped. Then we have some bullish candlestick signals that confirmed, and now it's just taking off. And so usually, what you'll see in a situation like that is you'll see the stock rally from one earnings to the next earnings. And so this is why I say from now to the end of December, chances are very, very high. I'm not looking to get out of any financial stocks from now to the end of December.
Yeah. So this is a good example of when things revert to the mean. That's another way of trading,
Yes,
and it's a way of trading where you're going to take a little bit of the air out of it, so it doesn't look like a collapse would happen from here because it already has had a drop. So
absolutely.
that's why you feel comfortable buying the reversion as opposed to the momentum.
100%.
I'm with you.
100%. I
All
like
right,
that
well, we're done.
terminology.
We're done with reversion. Let's go over to that momentum guy, Harry Boxer. And Harry, one of the areas that were good today. Every time I see this area go up, I think of Harry, and that is the biotechs were doing pretty good. Did you have anything you want to share your screen, Harry? And I know you've got a lot on your screens there. Do you want to show us some of the things that you saw being hot today?
It says here someone else is sharing. I'm sending a request to share. There you go.
Yeah, you're there now.
Hang on a sec.
One more second. I wanted to ask you about Viking. Viking looks like it's on the verge of spiking up. So,
Let's take a look at it.
yeah.
VKNG. Well, the one thing I like about Viking, here's what I don't like. It's a laggard.
Hold on,
There's so
Viking
many, there's some,
VKTX.
but oh, I'm sorry. That's almost the same, isn't it?
Yeah.
VKTX.
VKTX. There you go.
All right, little difference. Okay. So Michael will tell you that this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 wave, sloppy 4 wave type of pattern. But what I don't like is when it was in a rising 1, 2, 3, 4. It had a beautiful coil. It broke down. For me, it was stopped right there at about 48. Subsequently, it dropped in half. Less than that, it went from 48 to 19.
Right.
Bounced up, pulled back. I mean, it's had a gap down. It's pulled back up. What I do like about it now, broke back above the moving averages. It's forming a little consolidation flag type formation. And should this get over 36, 80, 37, I would look for low to mid 40s, maybe 50. So I think it is set up for a good trade right in this range here.
Yeah, I'm thinking the same. It just you're right though. They haven't lit the fuse yet, but if they do, it could run.
Here's one that I put out today as a swing trade. Dyne Therapeutics was in
Uh-huh.
a beautiful uptrend last year. It went from 6 to 47. You can see it went up about eightfold. It came down in a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave, Elliott wave type decline, then tested, formed in a coiling type base, broke out right here, formed a little flag. That's where I gave a swing. Today it went bonkers with a breakaway gap and closed up 705, 41% move, 13 million shares, which is near historic volume on a breakout day. So to me, here's the kind of stock that's in the biotech sector that probably is headed for high 20s and then it may make a run at this level, 36.7 up there. So looking for about a 50% move in the next month or so, potentially. And that's the kind of,
You got any more biotechs that you've been focused on? Maybe that
I
are
got,
just about to break out, or
well, we had one today, Bridge Bio. After months of consolidating, it broke out of a base and it's been in a rising channel.
yeah.
So there's some lateral resistance up here. My target is 73, 74, so I think you can get 10 points out of it. That's because of this period back here in 21 where there was a bunch of highs in that 68, 70 range. So I'm looking for maybe momentum to carry this forward for another 8 to 10 points. So that's and there's just so many out there that are set to go. Look at this one, CELC, and a massive breakaway gap on volume on some positive drug news. It traded 43 million shares that day, which is by far the biggest day in its history. And it broke out of the entire trading range it's been in for the last 7 years. Look at that, right through above that. And then it ran up and formed a wedge, at which point I told my people, breaks out of the wedge, it's a buy. Well, it spiked from 45 to 83 in 2 days. And today's an insight day. This doesn't look done to me. Something big's happening here, maybe takeover, maybe something else. But the bottom line is, it looks like it could be 100, 115, 20 going forward. Something to keep an eye on. That's a really intriguing one to me. And I don't just trade biotechs, of course. I trade a lot of tech stocks. This one is a big favorite of mine. GSIT is one of my institutional clients' favorite plays. When I saw this massive inverse head and shoulder type pattern and then a breakout, just before it broke out, when it popped here and then stalled and started to move, I put a buy on it at 5. Within 2 days was 18.15. We got lucky. Sometimes your timing's perfect. And then we sold it in the 17.5, 18 range. We bought it all back today when it dipped down under 10. It closed at 11.87. To me, it's one of those stocks. When you get that kind of record volume on a breakout day, 220 million shares in one day, and it tripled that day. So to me, that kind of thrust on volume initiates usually a new uptrend. Look how many highs were in the year going back 10 years. And it broke it in one day with a massive 220 share volume. So that one to me is enough. I think the stock's going to be high teens, low to mid 20s. So and that's how we find our winners at TimingResearch.com. There's
Harry,
a lot more.
I was going to ask you a quick question because I had a customer bring these two stocks to me. One has already made a move, and one he thinks might make a move. The first one was ATXS, AT X-Ray Sam. And that would have showed up on your stuff, I think, wouldn't it?
I thought I heard of every biotech stock, but I never heard of this one. Yeah. It's got a beautiful base, but notice this high here in 23 and this high here in 24. And going back here, there's one there too. So this is a massive base going back 4 years. And what I would need to see, first of all, there's some resistance here as well, right where it is. So it could
it's stalled out here. Yeah,
it could back off right here or go right to test the 16.5 range. Once it gets through that, I would target 2021. So it could have a nice 8 or 9 point move, depending on if there's a follow through or not. And I'm a big volume proponent on volume. I don't believe a stock without volume that makes a move without volume, or a stock that trades heavy volume and doesn't make a move. None of those, they negate each other. You have to have both.
This one had a lot of volume when it broke out, though, huh?
That's correct. But it broke out and ran to resistance.
Yeah, no, right to resistance. It's been stalled out there like there was a stop sign. What about this CABA, CABA? That looks like it could be going. They're out of Philadelphia, and the investors behind it include Bain and T. Rowe Price. This is interesting to me.
It's funny. I look, I don't poo-poo anything you guys say, but I'm a technician.
Oh, yeah. No, I'm just talking.
And the fundamental stuff, I got to say this. The only time I pay attention to fundamentals is the day the stock explodes on big volume. I want to know why. That's the reason fundamentally. But from a technical standpoint, from there on, it's all about price and volume performance. Now, this one, again, a nice base, but take a look at the long-term pattern. I want to show you something. A massive, maybe, year and a half long decline. Right. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think it's got something like 5 waves down and a retest and a base and a breakout. What you're going to need from me is a breakout over 334. And once you see that, you can look at 5, 6, and 7. I want to see volume in the breakout too. And I also don't want to see it go below here. There's a moving average.
You like the volume on that breakout in this particular. See, this one hadn't moved yet, so there's an opportunity, to really get some bang on a call option, let's say, because they're still cheap. And with that volume on the first move, that's a positive in your mind. The pullback not taking out to 233, that's a positive.
And the other thing is coming down on lower volume. If the volume was heavy, red bars, then I would think there was distribution. For now, it may be in one of those consolidation accumulation stages. See the wedge that broke out today, actually, technically, through that line. The volume picked up a little, so it looks good. First test will be 308. We get through 308, we're probably looking at 335, and through that, it's boom chakalaka, we're off to the races.
That's what I'm
Maybe.
thinking. All right, that's the only thing I wanted to bring your attention because I thought even the crowd might even want to know about this stock because it could be something there.
Yeah, I mean, I deal with a lot of stocks in the $2, $3, $4 range that are emerging now. The other thing that you guys know, I'm sure, is that because of lower interest rates and maybe some tariff reductions because of the what looks like positive, trade deals with various countries in Asia and maybe Mexico and Canada. If that all happens, the small caps are going to go crazy because of lower interest rates and especially most of the small cap companies don't have international operations. They're U.S. companies, so they rely a lot on interest rates for financing and stuff. So I think lower interest rates can affect a lot of these small cap stocks, and you can see how many of them are flying here. I mean, there's stocks that are coming out of nowhere. Here's one for you guys to keep an eye on. It's called Research Frontiers. Look, the breakout today, it doesn't sound like a lot, 894,000 shares. This is how thin this is. This is the biggest volume in 4 years. Take a look, going all the way back to there on a breakout day. So here's one I think could double and triple in here. They have phenomenal technology. And, just many other. Here's one that I really like a lot called SkyX.
Oh yeah, I know these guys. They do the flights that are kind of short hauls, right?
No, this is a company that is an electrical manufacturer. They have a new component that is plug-in. You instead of having to electrical wire a socket, this one, the new technology is plugs into the ceiling, plugs into the side of the wall. I mean, you wouldn't believe their product line too, and the amount of people that they have on their board from Home Depot and from Lowe's and places like that. They are and also institutional investors with huge interest for low price stock. And by the way, they do 100 million in revenue. This isn't a tiny company, and the stock's $1.50. I think it's a triple quadruple here, and I own a big position personally, but I can tell you that some of my institutional clients are very close to this company and watching it carefully, starting to accumulate stock. I just think it's a no-brainer for me. If you look at the fundamentals, you'll say to yourself, "How is this stock $1.50?" Well, technically, it's starting to emerge. Now, it did pull back. It did pull back today, but I think it's one of those stocks that one day we wake up. And by the way, here's the other thing about this company. There's talk about this becoming an industry standard. Their technology is so safe. You avoid electrocutions and accidents and things like that based on electricians having to go up on a ladder to do the wiring and stuff. And it's just insurance companies are talking about making this industry standard and giving huge discounts to companies that use their products. So if that happens, it's off to the races. Something to take a look at.
All right. Michael, I would like you to jump in here and give us a background on what are you thinking on this S&P into all-time highs, and maybe if any of the fib numbers or the Elliott wave could explain what we're seeing. Like, Michael, do you have your own screen you want to share, or what do you think?
I do, as soon as I can get off of it and pull up.
And when we go back to Harry, he can maybe give us an idea on what some of those stocks on the left were all about that had all that green on it.
Yep, I got it. Thanks. Well, first thing I'm going to say, not really sure what was at hand, but while the Nasdaq was kind of like pushing and making great gains, the S&P got stuck at 6,900 in the ES, and I'm not sure why, but that's where it sat until, let's see, 10 minutes before the bell.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And then it broke, and it hasn't stopped. And it's just, and I'm wondering, like, what was there? I mean, I checked, and there was some gamma sitting there, and so I get why it was held. But I think whoever was holding it, they finally just couldn't do it anymore, because every time they come up and try to get it, they were selling them 100. They sell them another 150. There's only so many times you can do that, and then it just broke, and now it's traded all the way up to 69.13. Now, going back. I got to go off the hourly chart. Yeah, I got to get it to a chart that we can see. This is all really good stuff in here because this correction here, this fourth wave, I thought we were going to get more of it. And we were going to go up and then we were going to come back down. I got to tell you, that actually still exists. I don't give it a lot of probability right now because of the intensity of this rally starting from the 22nd. And so I think it's extremely dynamic. It fits my short-term and the longer-term picture pretty cleanly. It's right in line to what the algorithms that I use and ask my questions to. It's fitting very, very cleanly. The only thing that's not fitting is that the algorithms were continuing to consider that we would kind of meander down before we did the surge, which we did, but the timing actually they were kind of looking at for it to be until the end of October, maybe to the beginning of November. And then we would surge until the second week of December. So, and that kind of fits in with what Wally was presenting. And so I'm like, yeah, I mean, I got this whole thing. We're all looking for this thing at the end of the year. And then it pops early, which doesn't really change a whole lot.
Is there a gap? I was going to ask you a quick question here. As we're going into the end of the month, obviously this week could be like, obviously, it already is an enormous week because of positive news from earnings, the Fed, stuff coming out of Korea. So, I mean, you got a big positive stuff going on. It
Right.
looks like your 161 comes in at 69.41. If we go up towards that neighborhood by the end of the week, which would be November 1st,
Oh,
is
that would
it
just be the end
possible
of a
we'd go
third
down
wave.
and fill that gap underneath at
Yeah, I actually
68.47?
that's really a good point because I thought that we might try to start doing that today. And actually, there are two gaps. Let me go down to that 15 minutes so you can see the other one. If I go to the SPX, you definitely can see it. So let me go over there because you got that one gap here,
Uh-huh, yeah.
and we had the other one today.
And
So
where's that other gap at? 60,
this
one's
one
at
came down
68, well, one's at
67.35 and then
67.46.
up
Oh,
to 67.70. Wasn't as large. This one was classic. It was classic. And
and what's the parameters on that last gap up top here? 68.07 a ballpark and about 68.40 or something?
no, this one would have been it came in at 67.89.
Okay.
And then we opened this morning at 68.45. So it was pretty good. Now, I know, Jimmy and you and I've talked about it that I really count a lot on gamma levels, and because I'm an ex-market maker, et cetera, et cetera. But gamma and options and how they trade, particularly the zero DTEs and in the spiders and in the SPX, et cetera, it carries a lot of validity that where the options go or how the options trade, so trades the market. And so I think what happened here, pretty much across the board, the ES, it broke above several important levels, that would produce this larger boost. And they did it yesterday. They did it in Globex, so options weren't trading yet. So again, that's what happened. It's like they're all rushing in to buy the future or to just load up on the future, knowing what was going to happen today.
Where's that collar at that you sometimes refer to?
That is Captain. Oh, you mean for JP Morgan or just Captain Condor?
No, the JP Morgan one you always talk about.
I'm not sure. I'm sure that the calls are being tested. But I actually think it was above all this.
What about the other source that you were talking about as far as collars?
The JP Morgan is the one that does it the quarterly.
Okay.
So they won't touch that until the end of December.
Okay. Even if it breaks through the top end, they don't
Even if
roll
it
it?
breaks through the top end of it, these are masterful traders, by the way. Of course, this is JP Morgan, right? They just built that $3 billion office building.
Right.
They got the money. And
Yep.
their traders on this particular desk, I think, are stealth and just incredibly good. What they will do, if they're threatened, if any of those positions are threatened, they just go over to zero DTE and they trade it there. And it's like hedging the other one. And then so it's easier for them to get in and out. So in other words, it's like they're not going to get stuck in a position. They can do it for the day. They come back and they do it again the next day, however long they need it. Because very often they'll get tested, put or call, they'll get tested, but it doesn't last. So as long as the pressure stays on, they can go trade it. And then when the pressure comes off, they just leave it alone until the next time, if it should happen. But there's another guy out there, and he's actually just, he's retail. So he's not like, he's a professional trader, but he's not associated with any large firm. And they call him Captain Condor. And he'll come in and put 10,000 to 20,000 contracts on in a Condor, and he uses zero DTEs. So he can really flip gamma around. And so that is what I think was happening today. And again, I'm not sure why, because I tried to look, I looked at the options, and the only thing I can come up with is that there were at 6,900 in the ES for October the 31st, there was a large position. Now, because it gets popped today, doesn't really tell me that they're going to rush to cover this thing because it expires on Friday. It could have, but I don't really see that, because I thought if you're big enough to put the position on. But they came flying, and you just saw the bids go. And secondly, the markets are thin right now. I mean, we're not having tremendous volume up here. Do you blame them? It's like, we've never been here before. We don't know how high it's going to go. We've got fib levels, but they seem to keep running to them, like this one in the SPX. See where we went today? Right to it. Right to the 68.78. Absolutely right to it. So I just think that we're following a really clean Elliott pattern. And I have had a lot. Let me go back. Let me stay in the SPX. Do I have my upside targets on this guy? I do. You see these? They're all valid. They're all valid.
Now, this is on what time frame chart? A monthly or?
This is actually out of 15 minutes. So let me put it back out to the monthly, and it's going to make a lot more sense. See, you can't see it out there.
How about the 1 year graph?
I can go to the daily.
The daily, right.
These are for this. This is a minor fifth wave, and that's what we're at. So just to kind of recap what I think we're finishing when we get up here, and whether it's going to happen in the beginning of November, whether it's going to happen at the end of December, whether it's going to happen in the first quarter of 2026, that's to be determined. But I can, my count is that we're finishing a cycle. And now I can go out to show you. You're not going to see anything up here because it's too crowded. You see, this is data that goes back to 1928. And so, I mean, this is the biggest cycle that I got, Grand Super Cycle. I didn't start it there. R.N. Elliott did. This is working off of his work. I filled in all the balance. And so when you get 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, what you're doing is you're just building in a massive third wave, which is not anywhere near being over yet. But we are getting close to finishing this cycle. And that's the cycle third. And that one started in 1949. So if you think about it, that the rally that we're currently in, inclusive of everything that has happened to us, right? Stagnation, deflation, right there in the 70s. That's the 87 crash, people. You can't even see it. This is the great financial collapse of 2008, 2009. This is the pandemic. We were all there. It was kind of scary, right? And then this was like when we topped in interest rates, and then interest rates come down, it's nothing. Now, one thing that I'm also noticing is like, so we get this big thing. I think that we get up there. I think we can get between 72 and 7,800. Now, what can I say that I know, because one of them is a coaching client of mine, that there are very, very, very large positions in the spiders starting at 7,000 or 700 in the spiders, or 7,000 approximately to 7,300. And they just build from there, and they go all the way out, and they keep pushing them out. But the main guy that started this whole positioning on this level using leaps, so, just far out, he's now told everybody that he will be out in December the 31st. So
of this year.
So will JP Morgan. So I'm thinking, well, I've been looking for this top. I'm looking actually that I believe it could top out in December December the 10th, to be honest with you. And that's right around
birthday. My birthday.
There you go, Harry. And it's also
That would be a perfect thing for your
it's an
birthday.
FOMC meeting day. All in the
Hey,
same day.
let's do one thing real quick here before we run out of time. Flip over to gold. Topped out at 4,400, pulled back to 4,000, broke down through 4060. Are we going down to 3,900 to test things,
No,
or even
no,
3,600, or is it
I
just real
don't think so.
temporary?
Let me get out of the sky with this guy. Let me come down to my daily. I don't think so.
I do.
Revised.
Yeah.
So I revised it. I got 3,700. They make it down to there. But see, that may have completed it. I think it might have a little bit more downside
A little more
because
slippage.
the way I've got this labeled. And so there, this is a 3. And then it's an ABC for the 4. It might come down to here. But I think 4,000 kind of holds it up. It got down to what, 30?
Yeah, it broke underneath that already.
It did, but I think it was like 84 or something because I actually was.
Yeah, well, tomorrow's another day, right?
Well, yeah, but
hey, Harry, one quick question for you. Avi was thinking there'd be a pretty of a major high point in gold, and it apparently looks like it may have happened. And he also thought that the stocks might peak. Did you have any more? His company's called the Elliott Wave Trader.
the only
Right.
way
ElliottWaveTrader.net.
Yeah, so that's his plug, ElliottWaveTrader.net. Now, what is he saying currently? Is he still a believer of the gold top and the stock top, maybe?
What the last I heard, I've talked to him recently, is that he's out of all his positions in gold and silver.
right.
And that if you look at this break, look, all you got to look at the volume bars on GLD. It had a breakaway after spiking up and almost left an island reversal. Take a look at the GLD. You'll see what looked like it was a gap up, but it didn't take out the high of the previous day. And then the next day, a gap down. I'll call it an island reversal. And the next day's down volume was the biggest in its history on a down day. And then it rallied on lower volume and then came down again in heavy volume. This stock, as far as I'm concerned, I think you've seen the top of gold. There may be one more wave up, but for me, until on the GLD, we're going down to 3,490, 3,500 in that range. I think.
Yeah.
Okay,
so what about the stock market? Is that going to be hitting a high point between now and year end that should be liquidated into, or what do you think?
Guys, I'm going to tell you something. My favorite expression is trade what you see, not what you think. If you start to think about when and if, I know so many of my esteemed colleagues that are bright guys that were short up the yin yang because they think this market's getting creamed. Okay. And yet it keeps going up. And that's why this market did what it did today, in my opinion. It was 80% short covering and buy programs because this market wants to squeeze out all the shorts before it goes down.
Oh, no doubt about it. But was Avi thinking that it is like he was very accurate on the gold? Does he still think that this stock market is in the ninth inning?
Actually,
at least temporary. I mean, for a pullback, not the end of time. You know what I mean? Just
I got to tell you what I was thinking. A generational bear market could be upon us next year, and you know who else? You know who else thinks that?
Who?
Mark Jason. You know Mark?
Oh yeah, sure.
This guy's talking about. He even gave a date. I think he said March 26th. I don't know how he came up with that, but he said in February, March next year. I'm looking for a major peak. I got to tell you, it may even come January. I'm 78 years old, and I've been doing this a lot of years. I can't believe how many bear markets I've seen start around January 8th to 12th. After the new year, everybody gets excited. They buy stocks, they get sucked in, and then the market comes down. And for the first quarter, usually like February, March, April, it could be really ugly. Then you may get a rally into May, then get a summer decline, and then that's just from a cycle standpoint. A good friend of mine is Jeff Hirsch from the Traders Almanac. And Jeff's saying that he thinks the market is going to 50,000 on a Dow. So I'm a technician, okay, and I can tell you that when I see breaks from major uptrends on big volume with gaps to the downside, it often is a major top. And if you look at GLD and any of the gold instruments, I follow NUGT very closely. That's Nugget. It's a double bull. Look how bad that looks. And JNUG, the junior golds, creamed from over 210 to 125 in a week and a half. That's a pretty slam dunk, move. And if you're thinking that this is just a quick pullback and then they go higher, you might get fooled. Now it might bounce back up towards the gap on all of these. If they can't get into that gap or fill that gap, and they start to roll over, then it's curtains for gold, silver, and precious metals. I don't like Bitcoin. I don't like the gold and silver. I don't like the. I'm out of all the momentum players like the nuclear stocks. My favorite was OKLO, and I featured that several times in our last few
You
talks.
have, yes, you
Okay,
did.
and it literally went from 30-40 to 104 30-40.
Yeah.
And if you look at the uranium stocks and the quantum computing stocks, I mean,
Oh
look at
yeah, yeah.
RGTI, which was a favorite of mine that I highlighted a few times. It's gone from a year ago at under $1 to almost 60. Okay,
Yeah.
and so I just think momentum is dangerous here. You can trade them, you can scalp them, you can get in and out, but you better not be long-term holders in these because they're in end stage, in my opinion.
Yeah. Hey, Wally, I wanted to ask you a question as far as something might have had a correction and be of value. Do you see anything in the energy stocks like the Exxon and Chevron types of the world? Because, everyone is obviously thinking that those companies can't make any money, but I hear some of them are actually getting involved in the data center energy business. That's why Halliburton and Schlumberger, um, are starting to get a bid, and of course, Exxon and Chevron got a little bit of a bid. Do you see any value there as far as being a value guy?
Um, yes and no. I'll go more with the no than I would the yes. And simply because, again, just zooming out a little bit on that weekly time frame, you can see this is just range bound. And so before I can even claim that that's going to happen, I would need to see a breakout of this range. This is Chevron right now. And
Yeah.
you can see it's just range bound. So
What
is
about
that the upper?
XOM? I think XOM might look better.
Yeah, let's take a look at XOM. Let's go here. Same situation,
Yeah.
honestly. Same situation. It's kind of range bound. So at any point, even if it seems like it's like it did like a month ago, seems like it's trying to go higher and then it pulls back again.
They could
So
get
we'll
one.
need to see a huge clearance of that. But I would say this, going back to gold, I kind of have to agree with the carry. On that weekly time frame, I'm a chartist, and if you guys recall, last time we were on here, I mentioned the fact that GLD should get to 400 before any major pullback takes place. And so now that we've got there, this pattern right here is a huge top end pattern,
Yep.
Mm,
like a huge. So that's why I said I agree with Harry
because the body's
100%.
so big.
Yeah, this is we call this the hilltop.
Okay.
Basically, these are the same. This is the same pattern that showed up when, um, if you remember, Valiant Pharmaceutical, when they went through their collapse back in 2015. It was the
Hmm.
same signal that appeared, the same signal that appeared on Lehman Brothers before it collapsed, Bear Stearns before it collapsed. And so whenever I see this, we call it a hilltop. It's like, yeah, the top of the hill. You're
Hmm.
not going any higher. So I would say um, at the very least, at best, I should say, at best, gold is going to struggle going higher.
I agree.
At worst, we could see a major pullback, maybe even down to 290 something on the GLD. Now, is that going to affect the major market like you mentioned? I don't think so. The SPX, slightly different situation going on right there. We can see that it's breaking out and all that kind of stuff. So, and again, this is more of a seasonality momentum that we have going on with the market. So October, November, December, usually good years. And so again, unless some major news comes out, I don't see the major overall market, going down. Now, gold does have a seasonal pattern of picking up towards the end of December and going into January.
Hmm.
So at least even if it takes that break, so that's why I said at best maybe it goes sideways. It needs to take that break so that it can kind of catch up with a seasonal pattern again. Other than that, I 100% would agree. I don't believe that we should be in gold right now. I don't believe we should be in silver right now. Um,
Agree.
so just be aware of that. And then oil, like you said, I don't really see too much. I mean, if you want to scalp it, fine. But as far as like value long term, I don't see that in there. I don't see that in there. So to me, I'll say
Well,
stick with,
outside of the financials, is there anything else that you think might have any value down here?
yeah, absolutely.
Like the consumer discretionaries. We're going to be going into Christmas time. Is there
Yeah,
value in TJ Maxx? Is there value
not
in
yet,
Ross
not
stores?
yet,
Is you
not
know what I
yet.
mean? No.
Yeah, not yet. What I would say, pay attention to healthcare and pay
Okay.
attention to communications. So even if you just go to the ticker symbols like XLC for the sector itself, that right there is a major reversal to the upside that we
So would
already
you
seen
like
right there.
pins? PINS? Would this be in your
Uh,
wheelhouse? PINS?
PINS.
Pin interest?
Yes. So there you go. So again, even though it's kind of range bound, but it's beginning. I mean, this right here tells me that we're at least going to hit this $38, maybe $39, if not $40 on this. Now we have earnings coming up, so that might be the other joker card. But seeing what I see here, we have a reversal signal here. These are multiple reversal signals that all got confirmed. And usually that doesn't happen unless the market is really trying to take it higher. And so I see this as, 38 to $40 easily on Pinterest, easy.
What
Some
about Reddit?
telecommunication
RDDT, the old favorite, RDDT.
RDDT,
RDDT.
not Y.
Yeah, RDDT.
Oh yeah,
Reddit.
see, these are my classic type of stocks. The reversal is beginning to take place. These are early stages of the sentiment changing. And if this is part of the communications sector, then I can see why this is beginning to happen. So yeah, T-Mobile, AT&T, all these companies that have been taking a beating for quite some time. And you're talking about this is the weekly chart that we're looking at here. So things are really changing. You go here to the daily time frame, you see, they've taken a beating, and now it's getting ready to start reversing back to the upside. So I would say communications, anything in communications, pay attention to that. Anything in healthcare, this is something else to pay attention to in healthcare because as I see that, healthcare is already beginning to make its move as well. Here is the weekly time frame. Harry talks about breaking out. So this would be one of those situations where I would enjoy going for a breakout because I saw some trend lines on some of the charts before. You can literally draw your trend line like this, and you can see we breaking out. And so after that huge move right there, took about a couple of weeks, maybe 3 weeks of a break, and sky's the limit now. And so now this is where I say go start taking a look at some of these healthcare stocks, whether it's United Healthcare, Boston, what's that? BSX, Boston something. Let me see,
Scientific.
Boston
BSX.
Scientific.
Yeah, Boston Scientific. These are all stocks that are literally, like we're talking about stocks that have been going sideways for since the beginning of this year. Honestly, you look at this chart for a whole year, and then now that the whole sector is, gearing up for that rally, which again is seasonal as well. I said, I'll
What
say,
about Thermo
look into
Fisher,
this.
TMO? Is TMO on the
I
bicycle?
think I saw that one too. I mean,
Yeah,
you
there
can
you
see
go.
it's like it's been taken off, and so like, yeah, I mean, yesterday was a down day, but to me, that's not a big deal at all. Something is changing. I mean, we talking about people, institutions. I think you said it or somebody else said it, where it said like, VIX is down, so it gives the institutions permission to go ahead and stop buying.
Yeah,
If you were to
that
ask
happens
me,
every time it gets under 18, and that's why we went from May on a 5-year rally, a 5-month rally, because family home offices and institutions are not going to buy stuff when the VIX is at 60. You know what I mean?
exactly. And so, if you were to ask me, hey, where are they pouring money into? I would be inclined to say
Well, they're tech, obviously, and then
tech for sure,
data
without a question.
centers and stuff like that.
Without a question, yeah.
Yeah.
So I look forward to, communications, utilities, tech.
How about one other one, though, Lululemon? They had news today, LULU, and that thing has just gone down, but they've got a new product or something that's supposed to be beneficial, but that is just a sold out thing, isn't it? $500
Yeah,
down to
nah,
160.
yeah. I'm not a big I'm not a big fan just yet. I'm not
Yeah.
convinced that it's ready to go higher yet.
Same with
And
me.
yeah, so
And
maybe in due time.
How about Abercrombie and Fitch, ANF? I'm just showing a couple of
And
retailers because Christmas
absolutely.
coming,
Okay,
you
now
know?
that one looks good. Okay,
Yeah.
that's a reversal taking place right there.
Yeah.
Okay, so that looks good as far as the reversal is concerned. So I would take I might actually write this one down because I didn't see this one. ANF, Abercrombie Fish, definitely looks like a
They've
reversal
got a new
taking place.
product they're marketing through Macy's called Abercrombie Kids, something with kids. And you got the holidays coming up. Everyone wants to
Yeah,
spend money on their kids. They got a product in Macy's that's brand new with kids. So that could be the thing that makes it fill the gap at 85, maybe, huh?
yeah, definitely the gap without a question. I would say I would be extremely shocked if it doesn't fill that gap. So taking advantage of that gap would be something that would be wise to do.
Got to
Do
be
you ever look
careful,
at anything
guys.
international at all?
Jim, you got to be careful with this one. Right? Okay, it's coming off a double bottom, so there's support, and that's why it bounced. It
Right.
bounced on low. It bounced on relatively low volume. The underlying technicals didn't even budge; they're still negative. And for me, it hasn't broken the declining top line either. There's no breakout in the stock other than the pop above the moving average.
So right now you got a dead cat bounce in your view.
And that's exactly what I think it is.
And even if it is a dead cat bounce, we're talking about to $85, at the very least.
It doesn't go.
That's
This
easy
stock
plug
goes
into
straight
that.
up to $85. I'll be shocked.
You'll be shocked.
Will it be the first time, Harry? Will it be the first time you were shocked?
Well, probably. Anyway, I need to see price volume surge. I need to see price with volume.
Yeah.
There's no relative volume. Go back and look at the volume. See, that's when you look at a chart without putting the volume on it, and you're looking at just price. It isn't as valuable. When you see volume coming into a stock as it breaks out, huge volume, that's when I'm thinking this is going to go.
Yeah.
There's
it doesn't have that volume to confirm yet.
But there's so many stocks that look better than this.
Yeah.
Why try to pick a bottom, and when you got so many stocks that are going crazy?
Yeah. No, you're right. This is more like a seasonal thing because you got the Christmas coming up.
Exactly.
You got to figure out where they might be buying their presents. Dick's Sporting Goods, DKS was another one that's kind of down. If you look at that, DKS.
Yeah. Let me just mention one more thing too on this one too, because I hear what you're saying, Harry, but I guess where I disagree with the fact is, look, we've seen it do that already this year. It went all the way up to like close to $100. So, it's not, if memory is some of the things that we look at when we see price where people tend to like have that resistance and then they kind of do. So the fact that it could do that already this year from the lows to about almost $100, and then now it's easy for it to get to $82, no problem. Now, question would be whether or not it will break above the highs that it set for this year. That's questionable. But without a question, those are bottoming patterns right there. You mentioned double bottom. That's a double bottom right there. Maybe just give it a little bit more time. But again, we talk about between now and the end of the year, considering the fact that we have seasonality coming, maybe volume is going to come in and catch in later. But this tells me somebody knows something as far as this is concerned. Maybe they kind of like waiting in the behind the scenes, waiting to take action. But you see this double bottom like this, and then you're seeing candlesticks are also, I'm a very, very huge candlestick fan. All this is communicating that, somebody's beginning to buy. Whoever these people are, I don't know, but they are beginning to buy.
Now compare this to Macy's. Take a look at that chart.
Well, no, that's why I thought that Macy's might drag it up because everyone's running into Macy's apparently.
Absolutely.
I'm talking about relative strength and breakaway gaps.
No, it's a different animal. One you're buying at the low. This one you're chasing after the facts.
Yeah,
so it's two different animals. Yeah,
absolutely.
By the time Abercrombie has the volume that Harry's looking at, it'll be at 85.
Exactly.
But then he might be right that it's going to 95 or 105. So both animals can play in the same pig pen. You know what I mean? Well, what about Dick's? Let's look at Dick's DKS. One last one. DKS.
DKS.
Yeah, I'm just trying to give people a little. Well,
not so excited on that one.
Yeah, a little bit. But I mean, it's not a bad trend.
Yeah, if you're willing to stay in the trend,
it's stalled here. They need to hear that 500 people just bought Nike sneakers or whatever they sell over there.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. I kind of like would be in line with what Harry was saying. Is like I'd rather choose Abercrombie being fish before I choose Dick's Sporting Goods.
Well, Harry, why don't you jump in here now, and maybe if you had any more momentum guys we can talk about, because you had some great ideas earlier. Maybe there's a few more up your sleeve you'd like to share.
Well, I do want to say one thing. Let me share my screen first.
Yeah.
Let's see, where is it? Okay. I got it. Before I want to jump back for a second. I want to show you something.
Yeah, now we can see what you were talking about, how this thing doesn't have the volume.
Look
a different thing. Yeah.
Yeah, here's ANF. Not only does it have volume, it's got a lot of reds. This stock being sold all the way down.
Yeah.
And the bounce. See, if the bounce came on bigger volume, I say this is turned around. Like, look at the volume here back when it broke out here. Okay, that was an indicator that it was maybe going to trend higher. But this stock's in a major downtrend. 1, 2, 3, 4. This could be the fifth wave. It could be, as Wally said, a double bottom, and it could be a good, but it may need weeks and months to form a base before it breaks out and has a substantial run. There are so many stocks going crazy in this market. Why try to pick a bottom on something that's really lagging? Like for example, we talked about oil, and most of the stocks in oil don't look good. But check this out. EQT has gone from about 4 years ago, $4 into the 50s, and right now it's consolidating, and it's near its all-time high. Look at that. If it breaks through here, it's going to 70, 80, 90. And I don't care why. I'm looking at a chart that's telling me this is a tremendous relative strength. If you look at all the charts in the oil sector, nobody looks like this. With oil going down from 80 to what, 67 or lower than that, 60, whatever it was.
Well, it went to 55, yeah,
Right,
56.
This thing's gone from the mid-teens to the mid-50s.
Yeah.
Hey,
Over the last 2 years, yeah.
Harry, take a look at STM.
Yeah, well, okay, what about it?
What do you think?
Well, first of all, it was in a beautiful pattern, meaning a V bottom with a right-hand extension. I don't like when a stock has a gap and then another gap. This stock has gapped twice in 4 months. Heavy volume on the downside. And when it rallied on relatively lower volume. And when it broke this pattern right here, and it did it with a breakaway gap, the only good thing about this stock potentially is that it had a low in here, a low in here, a low there, and a low there. So this is a support area. God forbid the stock breaks below 24 and a half. It might be in the high teens. Again, this is another example of a stock that is lagging.
STEM, by the way. Sorry, STEM.
Oh.
That one's got some movement to it.
Now this is good. This is a good chart. Like, you know what this looks like? Look at this stock, SEDG, Solar Edge, and look at this.
Oh yeah, this one was going good. This is the one Bill Gates is in, isn't it?
I think so. Well, look at this one.
And Run, yeah.
And even the monster of the midway in that group, First Solar.
Yeah.
They're all in really sharp, good-looking rising channels and uptrends. Now, Vime, I'm not crazy about what's going on with First Solar, but I really like. So, by the way, Solar Edge was a stock that traded at 450, and they dropped it down to 10. A lot of room to go back up on this one. But why not be in a stock with a rising channel, with a rising moving average, and stair step gets way higher? This stock has a good chance of being 55, 60 in the next few weeks and months. It's 39. So I'd rather, again, this is what I'm talking about. Momentum, rising channels, be in the right stocks, be in the right groups. Retail.
Hey, Harry, can I jump in real quick, if you don't mind? So I understand the rising channel momentum. Well, how would you argue the fact that in May, when it bottomed over there, it led up to where we are today? Like, what would you have seen, or what could have told you that, yes, this is going to end up breaking up or breaking out into where we see right now?
Let me show you something. This peak, when it broke through here and consolidated and formed a bull wedge, this is where I put my people in on a swing trade at 28.
Yeah. No, but I'm talking about at the bottom in April, May. See, that's where I focus on. I would have focused on that bottom in April, May, with that double bottom and seeing all that, knowing that what you're going to be getting into in July, August, or even in October, we could see that it was bottoming out in April, May.
Well, I understand that, but the point is, this stock is just too volatile for you. Look at the breakaway, the breakdown, the break up, the breakdown. I mean, I want to make sure that once it gets going and it really breaks out of the base, which is here, and then forms a consolidation above the moving average. Notice how it came right down to the 50. There's a book out there called Monster Stocks by John Boyk, I think his name is. He went through the last 100 years of all the major movers in every decade and showed that institutions were buying stocks at the 50-day moving average. Here, 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 and here. Check out this stock. Right there's the 50. That's what this line is. And every time it got to the 50, it was a buy. Here, here, and here. Guess where it is right now? Near the 50. And if it breaks through this flag pattern, it can go vertical to 50, 55, 60. Now, I'm not sure why solar stocks are doing this, and I don't care, because fundamentally...
Well, they're betting on we need the energy. That's what they're doing.
Well, that's true, too. But at the same time, the current administration is anti-solar, anti-wind. They're more fossil fuel oriented. So I was really shocked when I saw these stocks start to move. But again, I tell my people in my room, trade what you see, not what you think.
Yeah.
If a stock breaks out, it forms a wedge, and the volume comes in. This is the day right here that we bought it, because it traded 13.7 million, the biggest volume in 4 months on a breakout day. And that's where we want to be in long. And look at where it is now. There's no signs of a top. As a matter of fact, after consolidating for a month, it's ready for the next leg up. But you got to consider the market itself. To me, the trend is your friend. The trend is still up on so many stocks. There's 13,000 stocks, and I bet you 10,000 of them are in uptrends. So why not be in something that's got a move? Try to pick a bottom. To me,
no, I mean, Harry, you're just looking for horses that are already running, and it makes sense that they're going to continue to run, as opposed to when they're trotting. you're not that interested when they're trotting.
Well, but like here, this was a massive top formation that took a couple years to develop, and it broke down. I'm
Yeah, yeah,
buying
yeah,
one play here, and
yeah.
this is where we went short the stock at 170. Unfortunately, we covered earlier about 70, but we got 100 points out of it. Look at this. You could have got all the way down to 11.
Are you using RSI at all in your analysis? Because it seems to me that you like to see things that are accelerating, which would mean the RSI would be collapsing under 40 or going above 60 or something like that.
Right, but I'm more of a I've always believed to keep it simple.
Okay,
You can have 40 different indicators on your chart if you want
right,
to, but for me, I keep see what's on the bottom of my chart. I have on balance volume and volume. On balance volume, everybody knows what that is, right?
right,
That if that line is moving up while the trend is up, or moving up while the trend is even going sideways, it means positive accumulation. When it's going down, if you could take a look at this entire downtrend, it was nothing but ugly. And but you can't really see it here. It started to reverse right there. But even then, this bothered me that one day. That's why I stayed away from it. It looked really good here. It was about to break out. The next day, it got crushed.
huh,
So, you got to be looking for the right setup, the right volume patterns, the right trend lines, moving averages, and if they're all in conjunction with each other. I wrote a book called Profitable Day in Swing Trading, where it emphasizes you've got to have certain things in line, and there's so many possibilities. Why try to see, Wally? I don't disagree with what you're saying from a long-term standpoint, but I'm a short-term trader, and that's the problem. I got to find something that's moving, that has
right,
momentum, that can move 30, 50, 100% in a 2, 3, 4 month period, or even
right.
2, 3, 4 week period. The way
Sure.
things are, and I almost laughed, Mike, when you said something before about 69.41. Over the next week or two, that could be over the next hour or two.
Yeah, no, the way things are moving, there's no doubt. As
Yeah.
far as things are moving, the clock is moving. We're at the top of the hour, so I'm going to bring it over to Michael to let Michael explain how people can get a hold of him, and also if there's any special offers you wanted to give or anything like that. So you want to
Um,
take over the screen, and you could if you want.
nope, actually, I don't.
Okay.
You can get a hold of me by sending me an email, Michael at MJF1 Partners. It's MJF, the number one partners.com. I still I have memberships on YouTube, and if you join the membership, you will get a morning report. And then also I do a daily as well. But that morning report, I include a lot of gamma levels, and that talks about a lot of what's going to happen intraday. And right now, so I've got a YouTube, and I have a trade room. So, but I keep the trade room small because I like it when we all can talk.
Yeah, more intimate. Wally, can you explain how people can get a hold of you, and if you had any special offers?
Yeah, actually, I do. You can get hold of me by going to rightside trading.com or email me at info@rightside trading.com. I do have this special that I wanted to actually offer, which is my breakout strategy. This is how we spot stocks that are going to break out to new months every single month. And so if you're looking for how to identify stocks that can make it to the high for the month, not necessarily all-time highs, but buying low, because that's my specialty, buying low for the month and then rallying to the high of that month. I do have this special that I'm doing right now. So you could go to, let me actually see if I can share my screen very quickly. It's rightside trading.com/breakout. If you go over there, we've discounted the price of 50%. And then also, if you email me at info@rightside trading, every Monday nights we have our webinar just where we analyze the stocks. We're going to be doing that tonight at 8 p.m. You can come join us for free for that. So just email me at info@rightside trading and say you want to join the Monday night webinar, or you can get this breakout strategy, every stock that can break out to new highs for the month, buying at the low of the month and rallying to the high.
Okay, sounds great. And Harry, can you tell people how they can join you in your trading room and other things you can do?
Yeah. Can you see my screen?
I do.
And you see my website?
Yep.
Okay. At techtrader.com, we're day traders and swing traders. We have hundreds of people online every day with us in a very active trading room with some very, very sharp, astute, very experienced traders, as well as some novice traders. But if you're out there and you want to learn more about technical trading, come see me. Come click on where it says start a free 10-day trial. And you can access me for free for 2 weeks. And there's the the price for the swing trade only and the VP access, which includes the day trading room and all access to me and all the traders, as well as the nightly videos I do. I do a weekend webinar that's extensive, about an hour of analysis of all the indices, the ETFs, the major stocks, long and short, that I'm following. And it's a really cool place to be. And I invite everybody to come in for free for 2 weeks, no credit card. Join us and see what we're all about. The technical trading we do, I think, is spot on. And a lot of people who join us, the vast majority, stay for a long time. We have people with us 15 and 20 years. So, and thanks for having me again, guys. I really enjoy your company, and we shall do it again.
Okay, thanks a lot, Harry. And as far as Option Professor is concerned, we have a very good seminar coming tomorrow. So if you have an interest in learning about options, it's a free seminar. You just email me at optionprofessor@gmail.com, and we will get that link to you for tomorrow's meeting. And in this kind of market, Qualcomm was a good one for us. And again, lots to learn, and there's a chance to do it for free. Optionprofessor@gmail.com. All right, Michael and Wally and Harry, I think we had a lively talk and a big, exciting time.
Yes, we did.
Markets.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did. So we'll be doing it again. Thanks a lot, you guys, and I'm going to send it back over to David.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Bye-bye,
Thanks, guys. Excellent discussion for our 500th episode here on TimingResearch.com. So just a quick reminder for everyone, you be sure to subscribe to Timing Research on Substack, YouTube, or your favorite podcast app. Also, you can come here to the website, and this post will become the archive for today as soon as I can get it processed. And just want to thank my panel again for today: Michael Filighera of LogicalSignals.com, Wally Olopade of RightSideTrading.com, Harry Voxer of TheTechTrader.com, and Jim, the Option Professor of OptionProfessor.com. Thanks, everyone.